Lucifer's fall revealed, the prophetic truth of Black Jesus in Ethiopia's sacred version, in the quaint village of Windermere, faith reverberated through every soul. Clara, a devoted primary school teacher and churchgoer, immersed herself in prayer every day. The sunlit church, a sanctuary of serenity against the lush English countryside, was her second home. Always, in her heartbeat, was a whispered longing for guidance, until a dusty attic unveiled a long-buried mystery, awakening dreams she never thought to dream. On a chilly evening, Clara stumbled upon an ancient manuscript in her late grandmother's attic. The air grew thick with a sacred fragrance, as if time had folded itself around the truths held within. Breathless, she brushed the cobwebs aside and opened the fragile pages. The words danced before her eyes, revealing a Jesus who exuded love and acceptance, wrapped in the rich tapestry of Ethiopian tradition. Clara felt a warmth coil around her heart, deep inside, a spark ignited. Could this be a divine revelation? As she read, scripture leapt off the pages, shining brighter than the stars above. Clara's doubts began to fade, replaced by an intoxicating yearning. She saw Jesus not solely as a figure of righteousness but as a compassionate friend who wrapped everyone in his embrace. But the comfortable confines of her faith, where black and white truths prevailed, began to blur. And as days passed, whispers in the village flickered from admiration to skepticism. Her mother's health slipped like sand through fingers, and the doctors offered no hope. The Lord had always been their steadfast rock, but now Clara found herself at a crossroads. On a tear-streaked night, she gathered her family, their hands clasped fervently. "Lord, we ask for a miracle," she prayed, her voice shaking with desperation. Suddenly, a bright light enveloped them. Time seemed to unfurl as Clara sensed the presence of angels. Her mother's breath steadied, her pallor brightened, and with astonished gasps, the entire room felt healed. This was love transformative, divine love. Clara's heart raced, the manuscript flooded her spirit with conviction. She had to share this miracle, the proof of her newfound belief. But doubt lingered in the air like the sweet-scented roses outside. As she stepped into the church, she felt both exhilaration and fear. Faces turned, once warm, now cloaked in shadows. Words darted like arrows, blasphemy, echoed a voice, sending shivers down Clara's spine. Yet others leaned in, curiosity sparking in their eyes. At the vital church gathering, Clara stood before the congregation, trembling yet resolute. "Let us embrace the love that transcends all understanding." Her voice rang out, a beacon amidst the tumult. Whispers grew louder, tension squeezed the air as sharp as the bird's cry outside. Just as the atmosphere shifted, a sudden crash echoed through the church. Hearts stopped, eyes widened. What truth lay beneath the mystery sent from above? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the dust settled, Clara felt an undeniable shift, a divine urgency pressed upon her soul. All eyes were on her, hope mingled with uncertainty. Would they accept the radical love of Black Jesus? Would they join her in this journey of transformation? The path ahead shimmered with promise and fear intertwined. Clara's faith now shone brightly against the darkness, ready to illuminate the way for a community yearning for healing. What awaited them in that singular sacred moment? The sound of crashing would echo through the hallowed halls of Windermere's church, reverberating in Clara's heart like a heavy drum. A hush fell over the congregation. The candlelight flickered, casting ghostly shadows that danced upon the walls, each figure a testament to doubt or faith. Clara's breath caught in her throat as she glanced around. Faces twisted in surprise, some wide-eyed in shock, others wearing scowls of disdain. Yet, amidst this storm of emotions, Clara felt an unshakable conviction the call of the divine was upon her. With trembling hands, she slowly stepped forward. The space between her and the congregation felt vast, an ocean of uncertainty. "Brothers and sisters," Clara began, her voice quaking but steadying with resolve, "I know you hear me. I can feel your hearts wrestling with disbelief. But I must share what I've seen." A warm light enveloped her as if heaven itself was heralding her words. "Jesus, the embodiment of love and grace found in Ethiopia's sacred story, has revealed his heart to me. He accepts all of us as we are, with no conditions, no judgments." This was not the Jesus confined within church walls, but the one manifested in love, compassion, and boundless forgiveness. At the back of the church, old Mr. Darrow scowled, his voice cutting through Clara's fervent declaration. "You speak of a false deity, child. The scriptures are clear, and you dare distort them." His eyes flashed dark with fury, yet Clara stood firm, rooted in the power of her newfound belief. "Mr. Darrow," she replied softly, an ache in her heart for the man whose walls were as thick as stone, "I do not seek to change the scripture but to breathe life into it. We have kept Jesus in chains, limiting him to our narrow understanding. What if he is beyond our comprehension? What if the calling is for all, no matter their skin, their past, or their wounds?" Whispers rippled through the congregation. Some shook their heads, thinking her misguided, while others felt a flicker of hope igniting within their souls. Clara continued, her passion igniting like the fiery embers of a once dormant flame. "When I prayed for my mother, it was not merely a moment of desperation, it was the act of reaching out to divine love. It was the unseen hand that sculpted my faith anew, transforming despair into miracle. Can we not then embrace our differences?" Tension hung thick in the air, and just when it seemed the congregation would crack apart, the church doors swung open with a thunderous gust. The wind whistled through, carrying a sweet perfume, reminiscent of blooming flowers in spring. Clara looked up, startled yet deeply moved. Could this be a sign? Then, in that sacred silence, a child's laughter echoed. Young Sophie, a child from the village, dashed in, her face glowing with innocence and delight. "Miss Clara! Miss Clara!" she shouted. "I saw him." The laughter echoed in the church, inviting warmth into the stern atmosphere. "He was in the flowers. He was in the sun." Sophie continued, unaware of the somber hearts around her. Clara knelt to the child's height, her heart racing. Could it be true? "What do you mean, sweetheart?" she asked gently. Sophie grinned, her small hands clutching flowers, bright and radiant. "He was there. He said, 'Tell them I am love. Tell them to come and see.'" Time seemed to stand still, Clara's breath intertwined with the child's innocent revelation. And as the child's words sank deeply, she realized another layer of truth was being revealed, right in front of her. Had the miracle already begun to unfold? What whispered secrets could be hiding just beyond the petals of those flowers? As the murmurs of the congregants swelled into a crescendo of hope, Clara felt the divine energy surging once more. She was on the precipice of something wonderful yet unknown. In that charged moment, Clara understood this was just the beginning. The journey toward the unveiling of Black Jesus was set, but what would it reveal next? The air thickened with divine anticipation as the church held its breath. Clara's gaze was locked onto little Sophie, her mind swimming with the possibilities hidden within the child's words. What did it mean to see Jesus in the flowers, in the sun? Clara's heart quickened, and she felt a warmth spreading, soothing her doubts like balm on a wound. Could it be that Jesus was not merely a historical figure but an ever-living presence, breathing life into the mundane, infusing hope into every petal and ray of light? The aged pews creaked as people shifted, torn between skepticism and wonder. Clara cleared her throat, glancing at Mr. Darrow, whose face now wore an expression less rigid, a flicker of curiosity threatening to break through. "We must remember what Sophie sees." Clara spoke, finding strength in her voice. "The beauty of our world is a reflection of his love. It's in the simple joys where he waits for us to notice each flower, each beam of sunlight, beckoning us closer." Sophie jumped, her enthusiasm bright, and exclaimed, "Yes. I want to show everyone." She danced between the pews, her laughter ringing like a bell, a melody of innocence that invited even the hardest hearts to soften. The congregation, pierced by the purity of her joy, began whispering among themselves, glimmers of belief igniting the air. Old Mr. Darrow shifted, his brow furrowed. "Children," he muttered, though even his voice carried a gentler tone. "They see what we refuse to acknowledge." Clara's heart leaped. Was he beginning to understand? Could the faith she felt resonate with those who had shielded their hearts for so long? Clara turned back to Sophie, her eyes bright with encouragement. The child picked a flower from her bundle, holding it delicately like a precious gift. "Look, Miss Clara. It's yellow, just like the sun. He wants us to be happy." With a small gesture, she raised the flower as if it were an offering. Clara felt the power in that moment. "Yes, Sophie. Joy is a part of our faith, a beautiful expression of our connection with Him." The warmth in her heart swelled. "And what if we come together, encouraged by love, to share that joy? What if we offer our flowers and our faith to one another?" Tension melted slightly, and murmurs of agreement floated through the room. As the congregation shifted, Clara's spirit soared. She could see tiny seeds of hope germinating amidst the doubts. People whispered their stories, some filled with despair, others illuminated by experiences of grace. A tapestry of humanity woven deeply into the fabric of faith began to emerge. Suddenly, Clara's attention drifted to the window. The late afternoon light burst forth, transforming the church into a sanctuary filled with radiant golden hues. In that sacred glow, she felt a gentle nudge from the Holy Spirit. The unveiling was not just for Clara or the village, it was a cosmic invitation that could reach far beyond their small community. Her voice rose, echoing with emotion, "Look. Even now, He shines upon us, inviting us all. Let us embrace this mystery, let us go beyond our fears and doubts." As the congregation began to hold hands, the atmosphere shifted. An electric sense of unity surged among them, a community forming not from mere tradition but from a shared understanding of love. Clara's eyes glimmered with hopeful tears. "What does it mean for you, dear friends, to share in this joy?" She challenged gently, looking into the faces surrounding her, each a portrait of longing and fear, hope and love. They contemplated. Then, a voice rang out from the back, tentative but brave. "Maybe loving each other is the first step," said a familiar parishioner. A ripple of nods passed through the crowd, creating an energy like none Clara had ever felt before. This was the awakening of their faith, a delicate rebirth poised on the cusp of understanding. But what if Clara's journey was leading her to something deeper? What if the spirit of unity she felt was only the beginning of a greater revelation, one they were yet to encounter? As a flash of serenity enveloped the room, Clara realized that the journey toward the unveiling of Black Jesus in all his forms was a collective one. With every heart linked in faith, what would they discover together next? As Clara looked into the eager faces surrounding her, each holding a flicker of newfound hope, a sense of urgency stirred within her. What had begun as a simple gathering now felt like a divine convergence. Each hand clasped in unity, each heart laid bare, echoed a silent question that begged for answers. "Let us not just speak of joy," she urged, her voice gaining strength, "but let us live it." The congregation leaned in, their breath caught in anticipation of what might unfold. Clara glanced at Sophie, whose innocent belief was like a compass, guiding them toward deeper truths. "Do you remember the story of the mustard seed?" Clara continued, the parable spilling from her heart with comforting familiarity. "A tiny seed, yet it grows to be the largest of all garden plants. That's how faith works. It starts small, but with each passing moment, nurtured by love, it can transform into something magnificent." Nods rippled through the pews, eyes widening with understanding. In that moment, Clara felt a swell of connection not just with Sophie or her neighbors, but with something far grander. She sensed an echo of the divine, a truth that had traversed generations, transcended cultures. "Perhaps," Clara said, her eyes dancing with fervor, our love for one another is like that mustard seed, exactly what this world needs to cultivate peace and understanding. When we share this love, it bears fruit, blossoms into a garden for all. Sophie twirled, her laughter infectious. And we can plant seeds everywhere, she exclaimed, as if revealing the heart of the matter. The congregation chuckled softly, charmed by Sophie's boundless spirit. Yet her words held a weighty truth, resonating deep within. Clara continued, let us remember that every little act of compassion, every gesture of kindness, is a seed planted in the soil of our community. And what if that seed grew not just here, but spread beyond our village? What if it traveled to the hearts of those who feel unseen, unloved? As she spoke, the room shimmered with a palpable energy, a sacred invitation to be part of something monumental. Clara sensed the divine in every glance exchanged, in every heart pulsing with a collective yearning. Old Mr. Darrow finally stood, his weathered face softened by the golden light. It's true, he murmured, voice trembling but steady. In my heart, I've held on to grudges, things that have held me back, kept me from loving as I should. Perhaps it's time to lay them down. To embrace the light in others and in myself. A quiet murmur of agreement spread through the church, as others reflected on their own burdens. Clara could almost hear the rustle of those emotional chains breaking, the old ways giving way to something fresh and beautiful. Together, let us become the garden of his love, she affirmed. We might touch lives in unexpected places, just like the flowers blooming in the wild. Who knows how far the fragrance of our unity might reach? In that moment, a silent determination enveloped the room. People closed their eyes, seeking clarity, imagining a future woven together by the threads of hope and love. But as the light continued to pour in, Clara felt something shift in the atmosphere. It was an unexplainable stirring, a whisper brushing against her spirit. What awaited them on this journey? The grace of the divine began to unfurl like a blossoming rose, hinting at mysteries yet untangled. Dear friends, what if the seeds we plant today lead to revelations we cannot yet fathom? Clara pondered aloud, curiosity sparkling in her eyes. What if our unity draws forth a truth that will change everything? As each heart brimmed with anticipatory faith, the air shimmered with promises of what was to come, leading each of them to wonder, could their small acts of love unveil something extraordinary? The quest for truth was just beginning. The air pulsed with a divine energy, a tangible expectation that wrapped around Clara as she stood among her congregation. She could feel hearts uniting, restless spirits awakening. A sense of adventure blossomed within her, they were at the brink of something magnificent, a new chapter just waiting to be written by their collective faith. Listen, dear friends, Clara continued with a vibrant passion. Something extraordinary is woven into our shared journey. Each moment of love we cultivate is a brushstroke on the canvas of our lives. Imagine, just for a second, if each act of kindness carries echoes of divine intent, rippling through time and space. Sophie's eyes sparkled with fascination as she pondered this idea. What colors could our love paint? She asked, her voice shimmering with innocence. Clara smiled at her, her heart swelling with affection. Vibrant yellows of joy, soothing blues of peace, bold reds of courage. The tapestry could be breathtaking. The congregation was spellbound, transported into a world where their small kindnesses took flight like colorful birds soaring high into the vast sky de mar. Darrow nodded enthusiastically, his spirit lighter than it had been in years. And you know, it's not just here among us, he added, a newfound hope sparking in his voice. What if each gesture traveled beyond our village? What if it found those in need, those crying out for love? The room filled with murmurs of agreement, hearts igniting with renewed hope. Clara felt the warmth of the divine embrace envelop them, cradling their budding aspirations. As they shared these thoughts, she caught glimpses of compassion igniting across faces, illuminating the corners of doubt that were slowly being cast aside. Let us not wait for tomorrow, Clara urged, her eyes glistening with fervor. Let us begin right now. A smile to a stranger, a kind word to a friend, a hand raised to help those in difficulty. Those acts can expand like ripples on water, reaching places we cannot yet see. At that moment, an older woman from the back, Miss Ellen, stood up, her voice timid yet unshakable. "What happens when we feel lost?" she asked, looking around, vulnerability radiating from her. "When the weight of the world makes it hard to love, to believe." The room fell silent as Clara's heart soared with empathy for the struggles that often accompanied faith. "Ah, dear Miss Ellen," she spoke softly. "Even in moments of doubt, remember this, even the greatest oak begins as a mere acorn. Our doubts can be nurturing soil for our faith to grow. Each feeling, every question, it is part of our journey, guiding us to deeper understanding." A ripple of warmth went through the crowd as they contemplated her words, hearts echoing with hope and possibility. Just then, the light through the stained glass windows shifted, casting brilliant colors into the shadows of the church, overwhelming the familiar space with a blend of divine hues. Clara gasped softly, as if they were being painted by heavenly hands. "See! Even the light joins us!" she exclaimed. It seemed to dance through the air, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. "Let us be the light for those who walk in darkness. This is our calling. Let us reach out, overflowing with love." As renewed determination resounded in their hearts, Clara felt the promise of change in the air. Yet, deep within, she wondered, with every act of love, could they unlock the divine revelation hidden beneath the surface? What awaited them as they truly embarked on this journey? With hearts racing and eyes wide open, they felt the stirrings of something great just beyond their grasp. All they needed was the courage to reach out and touch the unfathomable. As the light danced through the windows, Clara could feel an electric charge in the atmosphere. It was as if every soul in the room was being beckoned to rise, to step closer to something beyond their understanding. She gazed into each face before her, the young, the old, those full of faith, and those wrestling with doubt. Each person was a thread in the intricate tapestry God was weaving together. "Now, my friends," she continued, her voice gentle yet fervent, "what if our faith becomes the very light we reflect onto others? What if we dare to show that love that heals, love that redeems?" Her words unfurled like petals of a blossoming flower, each unfolding moment drawing the congregation deeper into a sacred space. A rustling filled the air as Clara noticed a young man, James, struggling with tears. He was usually the life of the gathering, but today his spirit appeared burdened. "But Clara," he murmured, "what if our love is not enough? What if we fail?" Clara's heart softened at his raw vulnerability. "James, my dear," she said, her voice wrapping around him like a soft blanket. "Our love may feel small, but remember that even a tiny flicker can illuminate the darkest night. We don't walk this path alone. With our collective hearts, we can ignite a fire that no shadow can extinguish." Nods echoed through the congregation. Clara felt the energy shift, stirring hope amidst their fears. "Let us share our love freely. Let it pour forth, like a waterfall refreshing a parched land. Even the smallest act, a warm meal for a neighbor, a heartfelt prayer, can create waves of joy and transformation. We may not see the far-reaching effects now, but trust that God does." With a renewed sense of purpose, Clara encouraged them to close their eyes. They took deep breaths, inhaling the fragrant spirit that surrounded them, surrendering the weight they carried. In that moment of stillness, Clara asked them to visualize those who needed their love most, those in pain, those in loneliness, those searching for hope. "Imagine," she whispered, "each heart that has been touched by our love. Picture them smiling, knowing they are not alone. Feel the warmth of God's embrace radiating through us, sending ripples far beyond these walls." Suddenly, a warm breeze swept through the church, as though the very Spirit of God was moving among them. Soft gasps filled the room as Clara opened her eyes, amazed at the beauty of the moment. She sensed angels dancing within that warm embrace, encouraging and uplifting each soul present, but amidst this warmth, a quiet tugging pulled at Clara's heart. What were the boundaries of their love? How far could it truly reach? The whisper of divine mystery filled her, and she realized they were at a turning point. Could they really trust God to steer their path, unleashing a force of love that could change not just their village but perhaps the world. She felt a tremor of anticipation ripple through her as she spoke. This is just the beginning, my friends. A leap of faith beckons us. Are we ready to trust in God's abundance and share this love far and wide? As they opened their eyes, Clara noticed a shift. The air was electric with potential. Hearts raced in eager expectation, each member of her congregation sensing the divine adventure laying before them. The question loomed over them like a promise waiting to be fulfilled. What wonders awaited them on this bold journey of love? And as they stood in that charged atmosphere, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that something profound was about to unfold, a revelation that would change everything. What awaited them in this space of divine possibility? Clara felt the weight of the moment as anticipation hung thick in the air. Each person's gaze was alive with questions. She could almost hear their collective heartbeat, a rhythm pulsing with possibility. Let us embrace this journey together, she implored, her voice steady. Let us unleash the love within us and step into the uncharted territories of faith. For every step we take, God walks with us. The congregation shifted, fidgeting with excitement and a hint of anxiety. Some whispered quietly, sharing their own thoughts of what this leap could mean for them. Clara could see that doubts and hopes intertwined in intricate ways. She laid her hand over her heart, feeling the sacred connection to everyone around her. What if, she challenged, we approached this adventure with open hearts, ready to learn, ready to grow? What if God's call is not just for us, but for the world beyond these four walls? A young woman, Sarah, spoke up. But how do we know we're on the right path? It feels so vast and unknown. Her voice trembled, echoing the uncertainties many felt. With a warm smile, Clara replied, but isn't that the beauty of faith? It asks us to leap even when we can't see the ground beneath our feet. It invites us to trust like a child, believing in a loving Father who knows us, knows our fears, and knows our dreams. The room fell silent then, as each person contemplated the strength of their faith. Clara decided to deepen the moment, connecting physical presence with spiritual weight. Let us take a moment, she said softly, to hold hands with the person next to you. As they intertwined fingers, Clara felt a current of unity pulse through them. Individuals became one, akin to a single body ready to move in harmony. She raised her voice slightly. Visualize this love we share creating ripples into the world, to those who need hope, to those who feel unseen. Can you feel the energy building? How far can our love reach? A tremor ran through the congregation, some felt tears prick their eyes, and warmth spread like a cozy fire in a cold room. They glanced at one another, realizing that this was not an individual journey but a collective testament of faith. Clara's heart swelled as she watched their faces illuminate. And remember, my friends, each act of love, no matter how small, is woven into a greater plan. God delights in our efforts. It was then that a realization struck Clara. Perhaps this moment was only about drawing closer as a community, but also about peeling back layers to reveal something divine that had long been hidden from view. What if, she pondered aloud, a spark igniting in her eyes, there's more to know, more to discover. What if God has purpose and intention in the tiniest details of our lives? The air shifted, sweetly charged with divine suspense. Clara's thoughts drifted momentarily to the stories she'd heard about extraordinary manifestations of faith and love, sacred truths that had the power to transcend ordinary boundaries. Together, let us seek these truths. I believe God is ready to reveal something profound to us, something that may not only shape who we are, but also unveil a deeper understanding of our faith. As Clara's words settled over the gathered souls, the atmosphere was electric with bold hope. She sensed their hearts beating in unison, fueled by a yearning for revelation, but in the depths of her spirit, Clara recognized the ultimate question remained: what sacred truths awaited them in this bold leap of faith? And would they be brave enough to embrace what lay on the other side? As the warmth of Clara's words wrapped around the congregation, a stillness settled, permeated by an undercurrent of both excitement and apprehension. It was as if the air itself held its breath, waiting for the next move, the next spark to ignite their collective journey. Suddenly, an elderly man named Elijah stood, his back slightly bent but his spirit unwavering. Clara, he began, his voice gravelly yet firm, you speak of seeking truths and diving into the unknown. But what if we find things we're not ready to face? The room shifted again, a wave of murmurs catching thoughts and fears flitting among them, reflections emerged from all corners, fear of the unseen, uncertainty about what faith might demand. Clara held Elijah's gaze, feeling the gravity of his concerns. Faith compels us to confront the shadows within ourselves, just as it encourages us to seek the light, she replied thoughtfully. God walks with us through the darkness. We trust that each revelation nudges us toward deeper love. Yet the questions hung heavy. What would those revelations look like? Would God truly reveal something beyond their wildest imaginations? As Clara returned to hold hands with her neighbors, the essence of unity grew palpable once more. She led them through a few moments of prayer, inviting everyone to close their eyes. Let us ask for clarity as we seek these hidden truths. May the Spirit guide our hearts to what we most need, a revelation to empower us on this journey. In the hush of collective prayer, Clara felt a flicker in the room, as though time paused, and the divine leaned closer. She opened her heart to embrace the fears, allowing them to mingle with the hope in the air. The silence broke with a soft sigh, a gentle wind swept through the gathering, bringing a sense of peace that enveloped them. Clara couldn't help but smile as she felt spirits uplifted, carried by a faith growing stronger. Suddenly, a voice like distant thunder echoed through the space, reverberating in the hearts of everyone present. You are not just seekers of truth, you are to become truth-bearers. It startled Clara, unsure of who spoke. Was it a divine whisper, or was it the voice of an angel guiding their hearts? She felt its resonance deep within, echoing hope, purpose, and a call to action. The congregation exchanged glances, a mix of astonishment and curiosity crossing their faces. Clara sensed the energy shift, transforming fear into a passionate inquiry. Could it be? She thought. Could it be that we have a greater role to play in unfolding divine mysteries? Then the soft presence of Sarah beckoned Clara's attention again. What does it mean to be truth-bearers? How do we fulfill that calling? Her wide-eyed wonder sparked the room's energy once again, igniting a longing for further understanding. Perhaps, Clara mused, pacing gently before the crowd, it means we share our stories, our struggles, and our triumphs. Within each testimony lies a piece of the greater narrative, like brushstrokes in a magnificent painting. We are called to reflect God's love, to bear witness to His works, even if they feel small or unsure. As Clara spoke, inspiration flowed from her lips. Each gaze was fixed on her, absorbing every word, and as they listened, hearts opened further, filling with new urgency. Let us commit to not just wonder about these truths, but to actively seek them together. Shall we make it our mission to uncover the beauty of those revelations that God has woven through our stories? Let us do it. Someone shouted from the back, followed by an enthusiastic murmur of agreement filling the space with fervor. Clara felt a surge of excitement ripple through her veins, a divine affirmation pulsing through the collective. She raised her voice, heart racing, but let us remember, my friends, we may be called to brave new paths, ones lined with challenges and surprises. Are we ready to embrace that? The question lingered, heavy with promise. Clara's spirit soared, and the anticipation of what was to come loomed before them like a sacred horizon. What untold stories and revelations lay waiting for them as they stepped bravely into the journey? Would they uncover pivotal truths about their faith that were hidden in plain sight? In that deepening mystery, Clara felt a blazing hope, just waiting to illuminate their way forward. The atmosphere remained electric, charged with the collective heartbeat of uncertainty and anticipation. Clara sensed that a threshold had been crossed, and now, as a united band of seekers, they stood on the cusp of something profound. Each person felt it, the unseen threads of faith intertwining, knitting together their individual stories into a vibrant tapestry. Clara took a deep breath, allowing the Spirit to flow freely through her. Let us open our hearts to what the journey may bring, she proposed. As she spoke, the weight of Elijah's earlier question echoed back to her, a visitor in the room that could not simply be dismissed. She invited everyone to share their hesitations as well, letting the atmosphere breathe with authenticity. One brave soul named Timothy spoke next, his voice quaking with emotion. But what if we find our truths too painful? What if facing them shatters the very foundation of our beliefs? His words hung in the air, raw and real. Clara noted the visible tension that came from the group, realizing these unspoken fears were sharper than they appeared. Pain is indeed part of our journey, Clara affirmed gently. But remember, confronting our pain doesn't mean we are left alone in it. God journeys with us. It's in the depths of that darkness where the most beautiful growth happens. There was warmth in her voice, and a quiet understanding seemed to sweep through the room. As Clara continued, images filled her mind. She envisioned a garden where seeds pierced the soil, yearning for the light above. Think of our hearts as that garden. Sometimes the old must wither before new life can bloom. Are we willing to be courageous gardeners? To cultivate the soil of our souls, allowing God to plant new seeds of faith when we may feel bare? The congregation grew still, absorbing her metaphor. The flicker of hope ignited in their eyes. Some nodded, others leaned in closer, as though craving the light that she described. Then a voice, familiar yet moved with revelation, rose from the back. It was Sarah again. Clara, how can we ensure our hearts are ready? How can we prepare for this divine gardening? Her question held a mixture of eagerness and apprehension. Ah, dear Sarah, Clara replied, her voice both soothing and energized. We prepare by remaining open to hear, open to feel, open to let God lead us through both joy and pain. Each moment of vulnerability can also be a moment of grace. Applause filled the room, but inside Clara's heart, a deeper question emerged. Was vulnerability truly their path forward? Could embracing their true selves lead them to the revelations they were longing for? As the meeting progressed, separate small groups formed around the room. Each group shared their stories and struggles, laying bare their prayer requests. The raw honesty birthed an atmosphere of sacred trust, a safety net woven by the divine. Clara watched as tears fell freely. Some shared laughter amidst their heartaches, supported by others who had walked similar paths. In one moment, she caught sight of Timothy again, the weight of his earlier fear morphing into something hopeful. His eyes, once reflecting despair, now glimmered with newfound courage. He shared his own story of searching for belonging. As he spoke, the faces around him lit up like stars responding to the moonlit night. Perhaps this is part of being truth-bearers, Clara reflected aloud, to lift each other, and to shine light where shadows linger. As they drew closer to the end of their time together, Clara led them in a final prayer, inviting the Spirit to seal their commitments. She felt a surge of gratitude. Their shared experience was a gift, a reminder that faith could illuminate even the darkest corners. Let us carry this light as we go forth, dear friends. Clara proclaimed with fervor. And remember, God has a unique journey for each of us. What awaits may surprise us all, but we must walk the path together. An echo of approval spread through the gathering, excitement igniting like a firework display in their hearts. As they prepared to depart, a lingering question danced among them like moths drawn to a flame. What would they discover when they truly embraced their vulnerability? What truths lay hidden in their stories, waiting to be unearthed? Clara felt the weight of their journey ahead fill her with exhilaration and hope. Clara stood bathed in the radiant glow of the setting sun streaming through the church's stained glass. Her heart swelled with purpose. Today was the day. With the warmth of the Spirit palpable in the air, she sensed a divine crescendo building, as if all of heaven was poised to reveal its mysteries. Gathered before her were the faces of expectation and trepidation, like seeds yearning to break through the soil. Clara's voice rang out, filled with holy resolve. Dear friends, together we have woven our stories, our struggles, and our hopes into a tapestry of faith. Today, we venture further into the revelation of Black Jesus, a journey not just for ourselves, but for the world. Clara stepped forward, her heart racing. She envisioned each member of the congregation as a vital part of a body, ears to listen for the truth, hands ready to act in love, hearts prepared to bear witness. What if, she proposed, we step boldly into the world shining His love brightly, breaking barriers, embracing our shared humanity. Are we ready to embark on this journey of love? One elder lifted his voice, his weathered features softening in the golden light. But Clara, what awaits us out there is unknown, fraught with challenges. How do we trust? Clara felt the collective quiver of anxiety, a flicker of hesitation threading through the crowd. Ah, she replied, trust is the foundation. Just as a child leaps into their parent's arms, so must we leap into God's arms. Faith often begins in the gaps of our understanding, where shadows meet light, and here is where miracles are born. As she spoke, a trembling hope stirred within the congregation. Clara could feel an invisible force weaving through each heart as they began to connect. She continued, each of us carries a piece of his love uniquely expressed. By sharing this, we create a masterpiece of grace out in the world. Encouraged, Sophie chimed in with the infectious enthusiasm of childhood, we can be flowers pushing through the cracks in the pavement. Her innocent imagery brought laughter and lifted spirits. Clara gazed fondly at the child, her heart celebrating the fullness of fellowship blossoming within the church, and then, Clara's voice softened, what if we become the fragrance of his love, spreading compassion in every encounter? With every hand we lend, every tear we wipe, and every burden we share, we begin to unveil something truly divine. The energy surged thicker and more palpable, as a chorus of affirmation rippled through the church. Intrigued glances were exchanged, untested hearts aligning with the promise of possibilities. Suddenly, Mr. Darrow rose, his stance firm yet humbled. I once believed I had it all figured out, he admitted, head bowed slightly. But I now see there's more mystery to God than I dared recognize. I invite us all to shed our rigid beliefs, embrace the freedom of his true essence. A collective silence fell, filled only with the sound of hearts beating in unity. Clara felt the spirit pulsating, every beat a drum echoing hope and renewal. Yes. She cried, let us embody love that knows no barriers. Let us be vessels of joy and messengers of light. With hearts aflame, they formed a circle, hands clasped tightly together. The radiant glow of the setting sun illuminated their unity, each face reflecting the warmth of his presence. Let us pray together, Clara invited, a buzz of excitement thrumming through the room. Let the divine lead us to fulfill this sacred calling. May we find strength in our differences, and courage in our shared faith. As they bowed their heads in prayer, Clara prayed fervently. Holy God, we stand here as fragile yet resilient vessels. Equip us to share your love boldly. Let us be stewards of hope, peace, and a message of acceptance that transcends all understanding. The air shimmered with expectation, as the church walls seemed to melt away, leaving only the essence of their collective spirit, a gathering meant for something beyond themselves. With the prayer concluded, Clara raised her eyes, excitement brimming. Friends, today we create a ripple effect. A movement born from love. Now go forth and share the testimony of everything you've witnessed, experienced, and believed. And as the congregation burst into spontaneous praise, a sense of divine peace settled in. They understood, this was more than just a sermon, more than just a gathering. It was the birth of a transformed community firmly anchored in love, ready to touch lives beyond the village of Windermere. Let us not hesitate, my friends. Clara urged with fervor as the energy carried them forward. Embrace the brilliance within you. For the world craves what we possess, God's endless love. As laughter and joy echoed down the streets, Clara stood at the threshold of the church, tears of gratitude welling in her eyes. She watched as the colorful tapestry of souls designed by the divine danced into the world, renewed and invigorated. Together, they were ready to unveil the truth that had always been waiting to shine through. Let the journey begin. She whispered softly, feeling the impossible turn possible. Hearts unified, ready to manifest the extraordinary, are poured forth from their Savior. Her heart soared in harmony with theirs. This was their moment, and they would not turn away from the divine adventure that awaited. Now is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories that will change your life. Leave a like right now to feed the algorithm, letting others discover this powerful journey. Comment below with your reactions and testimonies about this ending, and remember, this message is too important to keep to yourself. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. Don't wait even one more second to spread the love. True servants of God understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.